Indeed, I'm very happy and feel great honor to receive this degree, and also opportunity to talk with young boys and girls. I think very bright in your eye. And also one aspiring student, quite bright here also. I think we two competing. Sorry. So because these young people, you are the basis of our hope. 20th century, I born 1935. And just before Second World War, then Korean War, Vietnam War, and also during India's partition, millions of people suffer, and also civil war in China. And up to now, in Africa and Arab area. I think each individual's dearest is one's own life. But that life, no,
there was, in some sense, no value to the preciousness of the life.
So, now I am over nearly 73. I observed the last century. Of course, there are many great achievements in the field of science and some other. But that century also become century of war, century of violence. I think people who start this violence, I think certainly with the hope or vision, although they are violent method, but hoping bring more brighter days on this planet, or at least their own concerned people. But it seems as if violent counter-violence and something like endless. So therefore, you, the new generation of 21st century, now you are our hope, the basis of our hope. You will create this century a century of peace, century of tranquility, no more bloodshed. Each individual's dearest sort of self live happily. So everybody, sing 1,000 times peace, peace, world peace, like that. But peace not come from sky. Why? The violence, war, our creation. So peace depends on us. So we must make lasting peace. So my generation, I always mention, you see, most of professors, chancellors belongs 20th century. So we are now ready to say goodbye. So the time to hand it over all these, or say the mass survey.
With the mass.
The mass world now handed over to you. Now you have to find ways and means to overcome these problems. Now, firstly, in order to carry effective ways and methods to bring peace, firstly, you need willpower to face any conflict without using violence, but through dialogue, through talk, face to face. So I often used to telling people or sharing with people, now this century should be century of dialogue. Dialogue is the only way to solve conflict. If we hoping peaceful world, that means without any conflict, that is unrealistic. I think so long we human beings with this intelligence which have ability, different visions, different hopes, expectation, then different ideas, different interests, always there. And also the global warming and the limitation of natural resources and the population increasing. So there are bound sort of factor develop conflict. So the peace means when we challenge these conflict without using force, but through peaceful means, through dialogue. Now, in order to carry dialogue, we need will or determination. And here, determination based on compassion. That means simply respect others' right, others' interest, and so they dare to harm them.
So instinctively refrain from harming others.
So here, one way we need compassionate, heart. Then secondly, we need wisdom, or more something like holistic view. The knowing the reality, sort of full picture. So for that, I think, although the concept comes from Buddhism, Buddhist philosophy, but I feel that is something adaptable to everyone. That is concept of interdependency. Everything interdependent. So now, today's world, in economy, in many fields, not only nation to nation, but also continent to continent, heavily interdependent. So under that circumstances, there's hardly no nation or no group of people as the enemy, rather part of ourselves. So therefore, destruction of your enemy or your neighbor is actually destruction of yourself. So taking care of even your so-called enemy who have different views, different interests, and little negative attitude towards you, but in reality, these are also part of yourself. And your future depends on them. So therefore, from the viewpoint of interdependency, interconnectedness, you get the conviction. Now, using violence, defeat our neighbor, it's meaningless. In ancient time, through war, through violence, victory oneself means defeat. Defeat of your neighbor or your enemy means your victory. Now, today, mutual destruction. Destruction of your neighbor, your enemy. Essentially, destruction of yourself. So therefore, the concept of war is outdated. Therefore, now one side try to strengthening compassion, respect, all form of life. Other hand, on the basis of theory of interdependency, develop holistic view. Combine these two things, I think we can bring genuine, lasting world peace. And in order to do that, person who, within individual, full of hatred, full of anger, full of fear, then peace is simply lip service. So genuine peace must through within inner peace. So therefore, in order to achieve genuine peace, world peace, first we start individual, in our mind, in our emotional world. Peace, tranquility, calm. Of course, disturbances, hatred, anger, these, or too much suspicion, these, you see, bound to happen. But should go on a surface level. Deep insight, respect all form of sentient being, and knowing my future depend on them. Combine these two things are, in deep insight, you can sustain inner peace, inner calmness. So these destructive emotion, almost impossible to stop, come and should not gain strength. Come and go. In deep insight, compassionate mind with the wisdom, then you can maintain inner peace. So through one individual's inner peace, you can create peaceful family, then peaceful community. If eventually we create that kind of community, then leadership, the politicians or civil servants, including military personnel or businessmen or anyone, come from that kind of community, that kind of society, will be different. So that's the way to bring genuine, peaceful world or lasting world peace. So, as far as education is concerned, you are expert. And particularly these old, also the wonderful professors and these, of course, fully equipped as far as knowledge is concerned. I feel shame or shy speak in front of these big scholars. However, another factor which gives me little courage, that is modern education. It seems maybe wrong, maybe my view wrong. It looks modern education, they mainly focusing or concentrated concentrating mainly external development, material development. I think we can't blame that because I think 1,000 years ago in the European continent, the separate education institution started. At that time, the reality, the church take full responsibility about inner values, moral ethics, and also family. I think takes some extent, family also take the care. So separate, newly developed education institution, then simply concentrate on brain development. Okay, knowledge. Now gradually, the influence of church, of course, still there, but not that much influence. And then family values also somehow changing. Therefore, now the education institution alone have the responsibility to take care both education and moral ethics. So now moral ethics is concerned, there are different views. One view, moral ethics must be based on religious faith. Another view, moral ethics not necessarily based on religious faith. The moral ethics can be secular ethics and should be universal. Universality way. Universal. So therefore, my earnest request, professors as well as students and teachers, please pay sufficient attention about inner values, mainly warm-heartedness. That much I want to share with you. Then, and what else I should say? I don't know. Then the other day also is I mentioned, I do not think you see much wrong to repeat. Now, in order to develop inner peace, you need some kind of inner disarmament. As I mentioned earlier, complete elimination of destructive emotion is impossible. But we can weaken these negative emotions so that negative emotion come but cannot disturb our positive sort of inner strength. That is I call inner disarmament. So now mainly here, hatred, anger. Anger, hatred may bring extra energy. It looks. When you lose your temper, even some scientist told me, biologically, anger develop, the blood rushes your hand. That means ready to hit. So fear develop, blood goes legs. That means run away. Although you say the anger, biologically, anger and attachment, these two things are very important emotion for survival of this life. So these emotions develop. Accordingly, the biological sort of change also take place. However, I think limited level, anger, good, defense. But when we grown up, anger also sometimes, and hatred also grow. Our smart intelligence, instead of helping compassion, intelligence helping hatred. That is wrong. Our intelligence must helping utilize in order to further growing of compassion, should not be disposal of hatred. Now there are Buddhists call analytical meditation, but simply analyze what really value hatred, anger. Anger, hatred, suppose harm on other. But in reality, anger, as soon as anger, hatred develop, destroy your own peace of mind immediately. And through that way, you lose your sleep, your digestion, appetite. Then eventually, your physical become weak. Through that way, you become difficult sort of position physically. Mentally also, you see, the constant anger, hatred. As a result, your the best part of your brain which can judge, that function also reduced, weakened. So that kind of state of mental as well as physical, I think your enemy really needs that. Someone as your neighbor, if you have some conflict and feel anger, constant anger, hatred keeps day and night, weeks, months, then eventually you suffer. Your neighbor then maybe the happiest sort of moment, very happy. Now my neighbor who have the quarrel, now he or she really suffer. So instead, you remain calm. If your neighbor carries some unjust sort of actions, necessary sometimes appropriate countermeasure, but without anger, without hatred. Analyze the situation. Now, situation is such, necessary take countermeasure. Without anger, without hatred, with a smile, you can take effective countermeasure. That's more effective, isn't it? So therefore, judging or analyze these as a fact, hatred almost no use. Hatred only did not lure it, back lure it.
Hatred, once you think through these lines, hatred is something that only deserves to be thrown into the waste paper basket.
It's no use. So, at small level, small age, like other animal, there's a little anger, is for immediate defense. That's okay. But grown up with intelligence, then think very carefully what's used that. On the other hand, compassion. At limited level, biased compassion. It goes immediate surrounding your friend. But then growing up with help of intelligence, our limited compassion then can be
extended.
Infinite compassion. That compassion, unbiased, that compassion can reach your enemy. Once that kind of sort of mental ability achieved, then you can certainly keep peace of mind all the time. Even you confront some difficult situation, still you can keep peace of mind. So that's the inner disarmament. Through that way, external disarmament gradually, automatically come. That also necessary. Now, since concept of war is outdated, therefore, weapon is now no use. Perhaps limited or small, because a mobile force, that may be necessary. Some mischievous people, that always possible. So some mobile, little force, but beyond that, not necessary. Now some country, I think as far as I remember, Costa Rica, no army. So, comparatively, they compare neighboring small
countries,
Central American countries. The Costa Rica economy is better, education is better, health also better, because all the resources used for that. Neighbors' resources spent buying weapon, ammunition, and freedom, fighters like that. So we should pray, we should hope. Eventually, our aim to the demilitarized world. That is, I think, should be our dream. Of course, not overnight. I think some way, the day Berlin Wall disappear, that is, I think, could be starting day, beginning of eventually demilitarized world. Now for that, firstly, I think some restriction, check, arms trade. Some Nobel laureate already carried some initiative. That's wonderful, that's very good. Then also, I think worthwhile to think or worthwhile to explore, like Franco-German unified force. You see, that real guarantee no longer open conflict between Germany and France. Clear. So hopefully, in the European continent, I often usually express these wishes. Hopefully, all the member states of the European Union create a unified force, like unified currency. Eventually, unified force is the best guarantee. And then I often express in Europe, the NATO headquarters eventually should shift to Moscow. Much better. That's the effective method to remove fear, doubt, suspicion. And European, the headquarters of European Union, instead of Brussels, better in somewhere in Central Europe. That means Poland or somewhere like that. So these are actually beyond my business. But as a sort of freedom of speech, freedom of thought, I often express these things. So today, like dream. But I think better have dream, then make effort. Then some positive change may happen. So in this country also, eventually, with Mexico, Canada, and then eventually Central America and Southern America, and eventually unified force. Firstly, on the basis of regional, then gradually whole global level unified force. If something happened that, then I think one of the best guarantee, no longer Holocaust, war like that. So I take opportunity to share some of this my dream to energetic, long future, bright future, these young students. Please keep in your mind, firstly, you yourself should be more a peaceful person. Then extend your experience, your views, your right views and right behavior to extend, like ripples away.
Repercussions, no?
Like
throwing a stone into a pond, the ripple effect.
So, thank you. That's all. Thank you.
We have questions for you, and we appreciate your desire to dialogue with us today. Our first question.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness.
Hello.
Thank you for
yes,
joining
yes,
us here in Seattle.
Oh.
My name is Kanchana Sinaviratna, and I'm a business student at the University of Washington in Tacoma. My question is, what's the simplest act of compassion with the most positive effect?
Simplest, most effective. I don't know. Last year, most effective. Most positive effect. I don't know. I think basically, as I mentioned already, I think pay more attention about our inner world. That means world of psychology, emotions, and thoughts. And also, I think you're from India.
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka, then, of course, usually I describe India's ancient treasure. There's some literature about different aspects of emotion. Although ancient time, these things, start a part of religion, part of philosophy. But usually I make sort of three parts. For example, Buddhism, I usually make three parts, three divisions. Buddhist science, Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist religion. So Buddhist philosophy, I think in some extent, but certainly Buddhist religion is from Buddhist, nothing to do with other people. But Buddhist science is something, exploration, something common. So in the Buddhist science, science of external things, matters, particles, not only Buddhist, but ancient Indian thought, there are a lot of sort of explanation about external matters, particles, and internal sort of thing, that means human consciousness or human mind or human emotions. So maybe now from the West, among the scientists who are working about human brain, neuron, and human emotion, now begin to look more detailed information from ancient sort of Indian tradition. So, I think useful to get some information, then experiment by yourself. So that much I can say. Otherwise, I don't know.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness. I'm Ming and I'm from Singapore. I'm a student at the University of Washington, Seattle, and I'm very honored to be in your presence. I would like to know, what is the ultimate vision you have for the whole world, which you feel would be realistically achievable in the next few decades?
Vision country was hoped. I think within this century, if we make effort, mainly through education, I think more peaceful world, more friendly, more compassionate world can be achieved within this century. The demilitarized world, that I don't know. But certainly, say, conflict can reduce. So I think better world, that is very possible, realistically speaking.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Or I wanted to add one thing. In money matter, in material sort of field, one problem, gap rich and poor. Not only global level, but also national level. Look, United States, I think the number of billionaires increasing,
Yes.
but the poorer section of the people still remain poor,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
I think Singapore may be better. Almost like a city-state, isn't it? I think this gap may be less. I don't know. Otherwise, in India, now unfortunately in China also, gap rich and poor, rapidly increasing. So this not only morally wrong, but practically also source of problem. I think we seriously address this problem. That's, I think, very important. So here also is the compassion makes important role. The richer family or richer world take serious concern about the needs of the poorer sector of the world, and within the nation also as well. And give education, give training, give skills or equipment. And should not look down, must give them confidence, self-confidence. If wealthier people, wealthier nation, a little bit because of the look down, then that creates, I think from birth, we have no feeling of inferior, superior. Wow. Eventually, we create our creation. One time I was in South Africa, met one family. I visited one family. There, the family member introduced me as a teacher. Then, of course, just after the changing of the regime, become democratic country, so I mentioned, now your constitution now change. Everybody equal. No longer racial divisions or discriminations. But mentally or emotionally, still take time to adjust. Then I express, now your black community must take the opportunity fully, and through education, through training, through self-confidence. Then the teacher expressed to me, our brain is inferior. We cannot match with white people. Then I told him, at that moment, I feel very sad. I felt very sad. That is also a problem now. I told him, absolutely wrong. From birth, our brain is same. Different color is just a superficial. Basically, we are same human being, same potential, same capacity. I made some example, Tibetan case on these things. Then, if we get the same opportunity, we can prove we are same, we are equal. Long discussion with him. Then finally, with a long sighs, whispering to me, now he convinced we are same. That moment, I felt some kind of tremendous relief. At least one person's sort of mental attitude changed now. So therefore, you see, the richer side or more successful side, pay more respect, showing genuine sense of concern, same human brothers and sisters. That way, the other side also eventually, you see, gain self-confidence. Meantime, provide education, provide training, provide equipment, provide money. The weaker side of the section, weaker side of the people, instead of frustration, anger, then violence, instead of that trend, self-confidence, work hard, study hard, that's the way to change this gap. So I think our youth, our sort of, I think responsibility is to look seriously about this gap. That much, that I want to share. Now you. Yes.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness. My name is Eva Combs, and I'm a student in the Masters of Education program at Seattle University. My question is, how do we show compassion to someone who has been harming other people?
Harming other people? Now, as I mentioned before, compassion, biased compassion, unbiased compassion, two things. Biased compassion, generally, I think, a biological factor, biological product. Now, that take as a seed. Then, with help of knowledge, fuller knowledge of consequences, long-term, short-term consequences, with help of that kind of intelligence, then our compassion can be unbiased. Now here, that kind of compassion, with help of wisdom or knowledge, can extend towards your enemy. There is reasons. The person who creates harms on other, actually, I think out of negative emotion. So there is sort of reason to feel concern. No, compassion. I think in secular way, I think that's the thing. But maybe from theistic, non-theistic, not mentioned here. I think some other occasion I mentioned. Now there are theistic religion, non-theistic religion, all teach us compassion and forgiveness, tolerance, these things. So according to that, then of course the two things, the victim side and
perpetrator of the harm.
In long term, there's more reason to take concern, because firstly, according to theistic, that person now really against God's wish. So negative consequences have to face. The non-theistic religious viewpoint, that person now accumulate negative karma, negative condition. So sooner or later, that person have to face negative consequences. So there is sufficient reason to feel concern. The victim side, already victims victimized. From the theistic viewpoint, God make more willing, more care. And from the non-theistic religious viewpoint, he or she already closed one chapter of previous action. Have some sense? then the secular way, I think the wrongdoing person, even secular law, harming other, killing other, stealing other, sexual abuse, telling lies, these are secular laws, right? Even from the secular viewpoint, these are wrongdoing. So as a result, he or she have to face the consequences. So there's a reason to feel concern. And then on that basis, develop sense of compassion, sense of concern. Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness. It's an honor to be in your presence. My name is Morgan Weaver, and I study psychology at the University of Washington. Seattle is known for its emphasis on environmental awareness. Do you consider the green trend to be a luxury for the rich? And what can we do to maintain a balance between compassion for other people and our planet?
taking care environment. The environment issue, for me, something new subject, a new understanding. When we were in Tibet, dry climate, cold climate, small population, every water can drink, no problem. So we have no idea, polluted water, no idea. So eventually, as a result of meeting with scientists or experts about ecology, then I noticed, now this is very serious. This planet of 6 billion human beings is the only home of 6 billion human beings. Moon looks nice in dark sort of dark night. A lot of sort of poems about moon. But if we lost our own home and tried to settle in moon, hopeless. I think, therefore, this planet, blue planet, is the only home of 6 billion human beings and the rest of the other sentient beings. So now, I think the global warming may be due to sun and the position of our planet, some changing, that beyond our control. I think 5 billion years ago, this planet not gradually is forming like that. So in future, after a few billions of years, even our sun also will disappear. So there's something different question. But to some extent, due to our own behavior, some sort of that effect on the global warming. So this is very, very serious now, very serious. So, and another factor, because another factor is bloodshed, which I mentioned. These, when we saw in television some killing, bleeding, immediately striking on our mind. Oh, how bad killing. But environment degradation is invisible. Without much notice, one day its real effect on our breathing, our lung, our eyes, then may be too late. So therefore, it is very more serious. We have to take pay much attention. Then, this is not matter of just to talk, matter of practice. Therefore, the taking concern about the environment should be part of our daily life. Now, for my own little silly contribution for that, I think now last a few decades, I never take kasachuti.
Any bath, yeah.
But tapes away.
Bathtub.
Only shower. Only shower. Although the shower every day, one morning, one evening, that's a bit luxury. But otherwise, you see, only shower, never sort of to use the tap in order to save water. My own small contribution, maybe silly. So the taking care because of the shortage of water and also the electricity, all these, I think, should be part of our daily life. So it is very, very important. Very, very important. Now, compassion, what connection? Compassion. Now, this sense of responsibility, although individual effort not necessarily very, very significant, but one person practice that, 10%, 100%, 1,000%, then make differences. So initiative must come from individual. So here, sense of responsibility. I usually call sense of global responsibility, sense of responsibility, well-being of 6 billion human beings. So here, connection, sense of concern of other. And also sense of concern of oneself also there. Actually, compassion. First, love oneself. That's very essential. Some individual, self-hatred survey. It's very bad. If such person who little bit negative attitude towards oneself, such person impossible to extend love, compassion towards other. So first, maximum care oneself, then for that reason, extend love to others. Okay. Like me. Oh.
Your Holiness. Good afternoon. I think I speak on behalf of everyone here when I say thank you for coming to speak with us today.
That's right. That's right.
My name is Ryan Mayock. I'm a student at the University of Washington. After I graduate, I would like to go into the field of international medicine and work with communities in impoverished countries.
Oh.
My question for you is related to this matter. As HIV continues to devastate populations in Africa, what do you think we can do to get people internationally to show the compassion and love necessary to turn this disease around?
Firstly, of course, I think medicine. There are already some research, I think millions of dollars is spending. I think these should continue and should bring some result, some medicine. Then education people in this area. Then some cases, I think these, of course, not as the blood transfusion. Blood transfusion. Through that way also, you see, sometimes it's happening. But in most cases, I was told through sexual contact, isn't it? So, should make available rubber. Then another thing. I think the society, a community, should not reject or should not look down these patients. And also those prisoners. I noticed prisoners, say, once they serve in jail, then people consider these are something bad element or bad guy. And they themselves then feel something now no longer belong to the community. So then the sense of responsibility, sense of duty, much sort of damage. So I heard, as a result of some conference about the difficulties of the prisoners, I heard, you see, after the jail sentence completed, they return to the society, some sort of extra difficulties. So therefore, the society must sort of give love and accept them as a part of society. Give them hope. Give them sense of community. Give them sense of responsibility. That I think important. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm not expert. Thank you. Okay, one. Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness. My name is Sarah Cook, and I'm a French major at the University of Washington. My question for you is that some people tend to be less compassionate by nature. Is there a way to cultivate compassion for people in their lives to feel more compassionate towards others?
I believe at the beginning of our life, beginning of our childhood, I don't think there's much differences. Then after birth, from first day and weeks and months, then due to different environment, different condition, may become differences, I feel. Of course, we need further investigation, research. So that's why it is extremely important to provide the young child, to provide maximum affection from parent and spend more time, the mother, particularly mother, spend more time with the child. And instead of some other milk, the mother's own milk, I think it's much better. So that is the, I think, effective precautions of the method. This is to sustain the affection or compassion as a product of biological fact, biology. Right. So then later, if someone, due to lack of these sort of atmosphere at the initial stage, then becomes something very difficult. Then how to deal with such people, such child? I don't know. I think expert may have something to say. Otherwise, I don't know. If I met such things, then I may take drastic measure. Because I may lose patience easily. So then I really don't know. I don't know. But then, such case, patience is really sort of the important matter. Time factor. Something goes wrong. Now, recover, I think, from good to bad, change from good to bad, but quite easy. From bad to good, take time. And need more effort, so naturally need more patience. So the other day, when my flight from Tokyo to Seattle, the whole night, one couple, two children. At the beginning, very nice. I also see. Give some candies to the young, you say, the young boy, I think boy, and one girl. Then the whole night, the elder one sleep quietly, but the younger one always is shouting, crying, and moving like that. Then eventually, father is just, you see, remain silent in sleep. The mother, whole night, taking care. When the child is shouting, take, and doing something, walking like that. So that at that time I felt, oh, I'm that, because if I were, you see, that position, I may not have that sufficient patience. Thank you. Good. Oh, I think it's the last.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness.
Oh.
It is an honor to be here, and thank you for that. My name is Lisa Moody, and I'm from Pierce College, Fort Silicon campus, and I'm studying criminal justice.
Criminal justice.
Criminal justice.
I am a 3-year survivor of domestic violence, and after I graduate, I plan to use my life experience and my studies to help other victims and survivors. My question today is, with all of the discontent, crime, racism, and hate, what can we as a people do to incorporate compassion to make a difference in the lives of others and our society?
Like another problem, we need long-term, a solution and short-term solution. Long-term, as we already touched, through education, we must make promotion or awareness of these inner value. Long-term, that's the only way. Peaceful society cannot bring by regulation, by order, by police, difficult. Only thing, individual, volunteer initiative. That we need awareness, what is the value of these inner value. So through education, that's long term. The short term, again, I don't know. I have no particular sort of experience. Perhaps some sort of connection or relevant. My experience, visit Northern Ireland, victims as sort of two religious sort of group and sort of killing. So some victims. I have been there, I think, 2 or 3 times. One occasion, I invited the group of victims. When I enter that room, everybody's face, no smile, much tense, something like ready to fight, that kind of sort of atmosphere. And each other, full of hatred.
Both sides.
Both sides.
Victims from 2 sides.
And we sat down and talked. Firstly, listen their sort of experience, very horrible sort of experience. And firstly, I tried to make calm atmosphere. Some smile, some jokes, like that. Then eventually, that atmosphere become a little warmer. Then gradually some serious sort of exchange. Then after 1 year or one or 2 years, I visit another time, met these victims second time, big difference. Right from the beginning, these victims then smile. And one, I describe my hero. One man, I think his age, 13 or 14, I think 13. A rubber bullet hit here, instantly his eyesight lost. That boy, of course, because of the pain, because of lost consciousness, and then when consciousness come, already he was in hospital. The moment consciousness come, he's only feeling no anger, no hatred, but only feeling now no longer I cannot see my mother's face. He told me himself. So as a result, that person, although blind, I met at the first meeting, there are a group of people. That person I met, in his face, smile, calm. Then my second visit, after a few years, I met. Now he already got beautiful wife and 2 children, very beautiful 2 girls. So that's also the mental attitude really makes big differences. So same victim, some keep anger, hatred, the rest of their life, years, much tense, difficult. This boy, right from the beginning, no anger, no hatred, something like that. Therefore, his life, although no eyesight, blind, but always smile. As a result, very happy family there. So perhaps you see, this story, right? And sharing or talk, tell these stories, if possible. If you see some really troubled area, I think worthwhile to invite this my hero. I think really wonderful, really wonderful. I think outside world, not much aware this person. So I think just make sort of friendship, make easy. First, our side must reach out. Then gradually there are tremendous sort of frustration feeling reduced. Then we can make more serious discussion. That's how I feel. Then of course because of discrimination on basis of color, these are old-fashioned, outdated. I think better education, better awareness, better mixed way, intermix. Then I think these will gradually will change. I feel like that. Thank you. Then okay, last question now.
Good afternoon, Your Holiness. Thank you for giving us all a chance to have this dialogue. My name is Mary Harper. I'm a student at Edmonds Community College. I have international studies from the University of Washington as my background. My question is this. Compassion and civic responsibility are words with broad interpretations and many meanings. Is there a universal definition effective enough to connect people despite differences of culture, religion, class, age, and gender?
Oh. I think civic responsibility. That means, I think certain responsibility, certain sense of responsibility for the society. Basic human nature is social animal, and then in modern time, there's a certain rules and regulations for the citizen of the community. First of all, I don't know the exact meaning of this English word, because civic responsibility, I don't know. So as far as I know, roughly, so that kind of sort of sense of responsibility. Then, as I already mentioned, unless you have the sense of caring or sense of concern of others' well-being, that kind of sense of responsibility is difficult to develop. So clearly this kind of connection. Now compassion, I think compassion, the sense of concern of others' suffering, I think that part, same. I think according to all religious tradition, love and compassion, I think same. But then, with concept of God, compassion, then the wisdom side, then different. According to theistic religion, compassion, the other part of the compassion, the philosophical side, different. And as I mentioned earlier, now non-believer or 6 billion human beings, in terms of 6 billion human beings, we must find universal way. So that is on the basis of our common sense, or common experience. Now children, the affection between mother and the child, universal. Even common with those mammals whose life depends on a mother's care, dogs and cats. Same level, same, isn't it? Same pattern, huh? So then we, human beings, because of intelligence, now the scientific finding, more compassionate mind, the brain function better, and the physical, the health also better. So now the scientific finding, now already some data is there. So I think we can use these things. These are universally accepted. So use these as the basis of explanation, importance of compassion. That's, I think, a secular way. That's, I think, very, very important.